Good morning. Your Honor, thank you, Judge Pat Dugan, for your service to our nation and now to our city and state. Please give a big round of applause to Mr. William Kelly, President, Friends of the Korean War Memorial, for his continued dedication, service, and commitment, not only to the Korean War Memorial, to our city and our nation. Bill Kelly, thank you very much. I have a couple of citations for a couple individuals who we were not able to present them at the thank you for being here today and for your service as well. Lieutenant Commander Fred Shearer and the young people, the junior ROTC at Lenape High School, and featured junior ROTC individual Nicole Kehoe, and all the young people serving in junior ROTC and ROTC. Let us lift up our young people for their great service to our country. We know the history. Of course, know that in June of 1950, President Harry Truman declared our country's support for South Korea. And over the next few years, thousands and thousands and thousands of American service personnel crossed the Pacific Ocean to wage war in defense of democracy. Nearly 40,000 Americans died, 610 from the greater Philadelphia region. It's been mentioned on a couple of occasions, of course, that some, I don't know who they might be, but some talk about the Korean War as the forgotten war. Of course, it's never forgotten. No matter when, or where, or in what context it took place, after World War II and before Vietnam, its significance will never be forgotten, because as Americans we won't allow that to happen. Today we come together to remember a war 62 years ago that ended. The brave military personnel who served to protect the 38th parallel. This Memorial Day, of course, is dedicated to all veterans, no matter where they serve, no matter what time they serve, or in what war. But I want to make mention of three individuals at this moment. Corporal Robert Higgins, as mentioned earlier, POW, listed as missing in action. His remains identified through DNA testing last year. Private First Class Joseph G. Henderson, also mentioned earlier, died on September 25th, 1950, name to be added to the memorial, and one that so many of us knew, and I was saddened to get the news, affectionately known as the Lone Bugler, U.S. Army First Sergeant Richard J. Pinter, passed away earlier this year. Made countless appearances at this Memorial Day service and so many others who would read the bugler's prayer. I want to take a moment to thank the many members of the Friends of the Korean War Memorial who've worked tirelessly, relentlessly, to ensure that our heroes who fought in the Korean War are always remembered. Please, one more time, with a big round of applause to the Friends of the Korean War Memorial. Korea, Vietnam, World Wars I and II, American Revolution, Iraq, Afghanistan, and many other places where military personnel are stationed. whether directly in harm's way or not. They're in our military. And there are those who mean us harm each and every day. They're the ones who allow us to literally walk down the streets, to go to the ball game, to enjoy our families, because they're always on watch. Soldiers and sailors and Coast Guard personnel, airmen, Marines. Let us also remember our police officers, our firefighters, and all of our first responders right here in Philadelphia. Please recognize them. They defend us. They protect us. They don't know, no matter what your level of service may be, they don't know what the next day will bring. They get up each and every morning, put on their respective uniforms, go out into the city, across our country, around our world, not knowing what danger awaits them. They do it with dignity, they do it with honor, and give their all. Let us remember all Americans who have lost their lives, whether in war, in violence, or through accident. You know, of course, I'm making reference to day-to-day activities here in Philadelphia, but also great tragedy of a different kind that we suffered about a week ago. 8 souls who were lost in the Amtrak train number 188 derailment, and countless others who were injured. Let us also keep them in our thoughts and in our prayers. Violence, whether international or domestic, through war, criminal activity, or accident. Life is precious and all lives matter in America. All lives matter in America. President Abraham Lincoln gave what is now known as one of the greatest speeches in American history. It was also one of the shortest, which, starting with myself, sometimes I wonder if any of us as elected officials were really paying attention that sometimes shorter is better. It was also one of the most impactful speeches. I paraphrased and made reference to it last week, the site of the train crash. But I would suggest that what President Lincoln was really talking about, of course, was that there are certain places that are so special, that something so significant has happened in that place, that it must not only be remembered, but must also be revered. President Lincoln talked about hallowed ground. Well, we're standing in one of those places right now, Korean War Memorial. There's another just a few steps away, the Vietnam Memorial. There's another a few blocks up the street at Washington Square, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. There's another a few blocks to the north, the Franklin Square, Living Flame Memorial, where we also recognize our fallen police and firefighters. There's another place on the Ben Franklin Parkway where the all-colored soldiers and sailors memorial sits today. And of course, for Philadelphia, one of the most, if not the most in the country, hallowed places, Independence Hall, the Mall, and the Liberty Bell. Because all of what we do, all of what we give, are ideas and ideals of freedom, liberty, democracy. What we stand for as Americans, what we fight for as Americans, what we fight to hold on to as Americans, emanated from that hallowed ground just a few blocks up the street, where men at that time talked about freedom, liberty, and democracy. And we have believed and brought within our own DNA the belief that America is worth fighting for, that freedom knows no limits, that we will never be overcome or dominated by anyone, any force, any group, and that we will give our full measure to protect it. America is always worth fighting for. America is always, in some cases, worth dying for. This is our country. It is who we are and what we're about. We will always give our best whenever we are tested. To two individuals who deserve their recognition. Jerry New. This was a tribute back from Veterans Day last year. On Veterans Day, Tuesday, November 11, 2014, the board members of the Philadelphia Korean War Memorial are recognized for their service to America, for their work to honor Korean War veterans. The current board members include Jerry New, U.S. Army Corporal, retired financial benefactor of the construction of the Philadelphia Korean War Memorial. It is fitting and appropriate, therefore, that the city of Philadelphia officially recognize with this tribute Jerry New and commend him for his continued efforts to acknowledge and salute the fallen soldiers of the Korean War and for his dedication to preserve and enhance the Philadelphia Korean War Memorial as a means of building awareness for future generations. Signed by me as the mayor of the city of Philadelphia. And for Francis G. Vatetta. It is fitting and appropriate, therefore, that the city of Philadelphia officially recognize with this tribute Francis G. Vatetta, commend him for his continued efforts to acknowledge and salute the fallen soldiers of the Korean War and for his dedication to preserve and enhance the Philadelphia Korean War Memorial as a means of building awareness for future generations. Also signed by me as the mayor of this great city. Lastly, on a very personal note, as mayor, of course, you get invited to many, many events and activities and many solemn occasions as today. I never had the opportunity, as many of you know, to wear the uniform of the military. I have one of, I guess, a sort of uniform of public service.
You have the list for the
primarily
wreaths?
a suit and tie every day.